and a very cheap doctor.
He's not a very good
Right.
doctor. Are there any like little stories you can remember from when you were 6 or 7?
Yes, when I was 6 years old, this was funny because my girlfriend, this Ruth Rashevsky that I liked,
Yeah.
always had a chronic earache, and
Yeah.
she couldn't go to school for a few days. So I'll never forget, I was on her front porch. There was big front porches, like terraces, and I told her sister Teeny, I said, I'm not going to go to school tomorrow. I'm going to be very sick. So she started laughing. She said, why? Because Ruth isn't going to go to school? I said, I didn't want to admit it, but that was the reason. But anyhow, I went
That
to
was
school.
your best friend?
She was my best friend. Then I met another girl around that same time where we lived there, Minnie Kaplan, who was my friend for many, many years. But I found out one thing when I was very little, that 3 girls can never get along. It has to be 2, because one is always jealous of the other 2. And
That I know from my experience. Patricia and Pam. What 3 were you?
Ruth and Minnie.
And who was in the middle?
Me.
And they both wanted to be your friend.
Mm-hmm.
Did one of them ever side the 2 of them against you?
Yes.
They did?
Mm-hmm.
And how did you feel?
I didn't feel good, but I always felt, why can't we all get along?
No, that's
and
impossible.
In fact, even when I went to high school, and I had 2 girlfriends, let's see, Betty Jacobson and Edith, was it Edith Krause? Yeah. And that was starting to happen all over again, like when we were little girls. Here we're in high school. The threesome just didn't work out, so I figured I'm not going to...
Well, whatever ended up after the Minnie and...
I seem to have lost interest in Ruth. I took a better interest in Minnie because I liked her. She was much smarter than Ruth.
Yeah.
She played the piano beautifully. When we were 12 or 13 years old, when I told you we developed a club, the Wohilos, and then she went to Russia with her mother for a trip, and they wanted her to remain there to play piano in the music conservatory. She was just good, but she didn't remain there.
Was she Russian?
Like we were, her parents were of Russian descent, but she was...
You're really... Well, wait, where was your father from?
My father was from Russia, as Minnie's father was from Russia. My mother was from Russia, as Minnie's mother was from Russia. So they were all Russian.
So, yeah, they were...
Minnie was born here in Chicago, as I was,
Yeah.
But we always had a affinity toward anything Russian because our parents came and we liked the culture and the books and the costumes and the food,
When you were 6 years old, could you speak Yiddish or not?
A little bit. I think the same kind of Yiddish that I speak now because I caught bits and pieces from my mother and father.
Yeah.
Actually, when they didn't want us to understand anything, they would talk in Russian.
You never picked up Russian?
Just a few words, but...
That's unusual.
Because they spoke primarily Yiddish.
Yiddish?
Yeah.
But if they don't want you to know something.
Well, they wanted to become Americanized. My father went to night school, and he really wanted to speak English as much as he could.
Yeah.
And he was right. If you speak the language, you learn it. So, but Grandma retained more Yiddish, so that's how I picked it up.
But your mother never learned how to read in America?
No, she reads very little and writes very little because she never had a chance to go to school. When she was a little girl, it was very rare and not so easy for Jewish kids to get into school in Russia.
Yeah.
And anyhow, when she was about 10 or 11 or 12 years old, she had to go out and work. And she couldn't go to school. And then when she came to America, when she was 15 years old, she had to go to work again. And she was tired when she came home. I wish she would have gone to night school or something, but nobody encouraged her.
Yeah.
Her mother died. Her mother was sick. It was just sad. So actually, she's good with numbers, her math.
Yeah.
She can read a little bit and write a little bit, but she should have gone to school. But there's a big amount of people, men and women, who are illiterate.
She could go to school now.
I wish she would want to, but she keeps on using the excuse that her head won't take it, at 81 years old. It's difficult. Some women, Mr. Zimmerman, I told you about
no.
when your mother and Uncle Jimmy went to college. He was a student in their different classes in different schools. He was a professional student.
That's all he did?
I think he had the time and the money, and he went to school. And believe me, if I had the time and the money, I would love to go to school all the time, too.
But your dad could speak, could read and write?
He
English?
could read and write.
Well?
Very good. He was a very...
So actually, they spoke 3 different languages.
Yes, there was Russian, Yiddish, and English.
Not Hebrew. They never...
No.
Was he bar mitzvah? Did they do that?
No, he was bar mitzvah. If he was, I don't know. Because in Russia, and in those days, I don't know if he did. I don't think his family was religious. And they made a bar mitzvah. It wasn't as commercialized as it is today. If a boy became...
Yeah.
They didn't make a big party. They had a little party. Right. And maybe if they weren't near a temple, they would have a rabbi come and perform. Yeah.
But they didn't invite thousands.
No, it's gotten out of hand. Today it's like Hollywood productions, which I don't believe in either.
And girls, too.
But, well, that is, according to the true Judaism of our religion, it's unnecessary. I mean, it's a thing of getting presents.
That's what all my friends...
Why they it's all right to be educated, but a bat mitzvah is no. I'm not for a boy a bar mitzvah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's tradition,
right?
Almost all Jewish.
Right. I have nothing against any girl going to Sunday school or getting religion, because the more we know about our religion or any subject, the better it is. So you never can falter or fail on studying anything, But certain customs and traditions I don't hold with too. So
in the Jewish one?
In our Jew, yeah,
do the Jews believe in life after death?
That's a good question. I think they do.
Do you personally?
Personally, that's a leading question, because I don't want to. I really don't think that there's anything after death. I think that we're just here. It's a gift that God gives us for life.
That's not good. That's not a good thought.
Well, I think when your soul goes into someone else's, when you give them a name, like your mother's named after somebody that I thought was nice, so her soul would go in her. That she preserves the name and the life, but I don't really. You shouldn't ask me that, because when you're prepared to argue the discussion with me in years to come, I'll give you an argument for it, because for years I was an agnostic. You know what that is? I thought there isn't a God, or there is a God. I was like not sure. There's atheist, agnostic, So.
I think I know what you mean. Okay. So anyway, are there any other things about the age 6 that you want to say before we go on further, like 8, 9? Any other things that you can remember?
Well, I can say that I had a mom.
Yeah.
We'll put it away.